let's be honest with each other. We all had high hopes for the new Division 2 game mode Descent. Would it be the next Survival? The game mode that would bring players back to the game. With that in mind, I decided to play Descent for the last 3 days, for more than 10 hours a day, without a break, which is way more than most people do according to Epic Slayer's recent poll. And I will be honest, for the first day I really enjoyed myself. Being stripped naked and thrown into the arenas made me realise just how much of the current content is trivialised by the overpowered builds that we all run. I'm pretty sure that my bullets were bouncing off the enemies from the grey BB gun I started with, and my armour was as much protection as a leaky condom. Finally, this game was feeling like the cover-based shooter I originally fell in love with, but as I continued to play, things just didn't feel right. Which is odd because it is clear that Massive have tried to mould together the best elements of survival and resistance from the Division 1, but in doing so, they've created Frankenstein's monster. The problems begin right from the start with the weapon selection. It's a nice idea to have some RNG here, but the issue is that some of these guns truly suck, and if you get 3 bad ones, you might as well start again. With Survival you could always find better weapons or even craft them before things got too tough. But with Descent you are stuck with what you get for the entire loop and the boss fight at the end. Now I don't mind RNG, but why not limit the pool to the best weapons in the game, so the RNG is more about playstyle than being able to survive. The same goes for the talents you get on clearing each room. Someone like a lighthouse in a desert. Brilliant, but fucking useless. Safeguard, Energize, Mad Bomber. On top of that, why are talents like Glass Cannon and Bloodsucker in the exotic pool? Come on, Massive. Exotic talents should be truly exotic. The other big issue with talents and core stats is that skill builds are nigh on impossible to use. Not only are some of the best utility talents missing, Creeping Death for example would be fucking awesome in the smaller rooms, but skills are also subject to the same RNG as weapons, which can leave you without a viable build as the difficulty ramps up. With Resistance in Division 1, which was also an endless wave mode, you were able to use your actual in-game builds, and for solo players, skill builds were very viable, if not the meta. All of this funnels you into a limited number of viable build options, and that really is the biggest issue with Descent. It is very repetitive. You end up building the same build every time, because it works. Within a couple of loops you will have seen every room possible. There was only a handful of boss arenas, and the Nemesis room looks like they ran out of time when designing it. And in every room you do exactly the same thing. Camp a door and kill the enemies. This is Groundhog Day on steroids. With Descent there is absolutely nothing worth grinding for. The gear is the standard fare that is instantly dismantled. I'm sure that there are a handful of people out there who have 10 hours free and a catheter who will want to top the leaderboard. Not that most people get past Nemesis. If you do, you'll be in the top 40 on the solo leaderboard this week. I got to loop 11 and just logged off because I'd seen it all and couldn't see the point of going on. Now there are some things that would encourage players to play the game. Unique cosmetics would be really cool. Maybe a unique exotic. I bet they regret the Nemesis marksman rifle being in the game already. But in reality, all that is doing is forcing people to play a game mode that ceases to be fun very quickly, and when fixing the game mode is the right way forward. Let us pick our starting grey weapons, our skills and a couple of talents, rather than it being down to RNG. Build variety will go through the roof as a result. Add rooms where there's something else to do other than camp the entry portal, include unique bosses and even mechanics, and give us a Nemesis arena that is worthy of this enemy. And finally, add a checkpoint after each loop, because I'm too young for these incontinent pants.